Hey guys, Chris here. It's time to live in the now, shift your mindset, and stop blaming. These are key things that I had to do when I really wanted to make some changes in my life. Biggest thing is that stop playing victim. Some things in your life can change if you just come to a realization of this just one thing. This is what it took for me. I'm not going to say that's true for everyone, because everyone's on a different path. But I can honestly say that with this one thing, you can make changes. There can be a turning point in your life, an exact moment in coming to terms with yourself. That's the hardest thing. For so many years, I did a lot of wandering. And when I say wandering, I kind of think of it like, what's that story in the Bible? I'm not too up on my Bible stories anymore because I used to be a really avid follower. I wasn't perfect, or not, I didn't say perfect. I didn't know everything about the Bible. I don't think anybody ever does, but I knew a lot. Story where they're wandering in the desert. I can't even think of it. But it was like that, I was literally wandering. I was doing a lot of blaming others, not taking responsibility, just running in circles, repeating the same mistakes over and over and over. And that is what you call the definition of insanity, where you just keep making the same mistakes over and over and over, but yet you expect something else to be different from it. That is, if you think about it, that is insane. And that's the biggest problem here. Is that's the one thing that people got to realize is it starts right here. That's that one thing. It starts right here, and realizing instead of blaming. And when I say realizing, is all the things that have happened to you or that you've done that you've been dragging around all these years, that's baggage, and it does nothing but hold you back. I get it. You may have been wronged in life. I've been there, done that. But using that as a crutch, blaming others for your current mistakes that you keep making, you can't blame anyone but yourself. I get it. You were hurt. I was hurt. We were all hurt in the past. But we have to be stronger than that. Running in circles just keeps you right there, stuck. Running in circles. It really is insane. I had to sit down with myself. Mind you, this night might not be for everyone. I went through a lot of different programs. I used God as my turning point. I'm not saying that's said what was the one thing you had to come to the realization, but I had used God. As I'd said, if you watch any of my other videos, had some nasty relationships, toxic relationships, and I'm not blaming them, I'm putting it all on me. Although it takes two to tango. At a certain age, I come to that realization. And I had tried so many things, but the one thing I didn't try was owning my shit. And something else that was brought to my attention at the time, and I went into this to save a relationship at the time. Everybody had said, you guys have tried counseling, you've tried this, you've tried that. Put God into your relationship. So we did that. This was my ex-wife. And I got really fully engulfed into the Lord and going to church on a regular basis. I went through a discipleship course for about 10 months, I think it was. Went through Celebrate Recovery. Now, discipleship course is just a real learning how to disciple others, being that follower of Christ. And there was a lot of similar things that I went through as I did in Celebrate Recovery. Realizing your past mistakes, bringing up old trauma, making amends. A lot of different steps and processes, and a lot of hard work. It's not for the weak, because you really got to dig deep. So that's exactly what I did. I started digging deep. And boy, oh boy, did I dig. And my pastor, and the members of the church, they all seen a change in me. And I slowly started making changes. And I didn't get perfect. Still not perfect. You're never going to be perfect. But I eventually had become a leader in Celebrate Recovery. And at one point in time, I stepped away from that. I'll have to put, that's a whole another story. But going through that Celebrate Recovery, that discipleship class, sitting down and just in silence, in prayer, all that deep meditation, the self-discovery is what made me mindful to my mistakes and realizing that I had put myself there. I'm the only one that's going to change that. Understanding that all this baggage and this trauma that I was carrying around with me was just literally holding me back. I took and I brought it all to the surface. So that way, I was trying to figure out where my anger was coming from. I had a lot of pent up anger. And I never figured out where the source of that anger come from. I just learned how to manage it between medication, identifying my triggers, and being mindful of it. That's the hardest thing. Took a lot of practice, a lot of years. I still, like I said in my previous video, I suffer from emotional reactivity, and if I get triggered, I can just, like, I could be sitting here talking to you guys, and if I'm passionate, exciting, I can come off as mean, I guess. I don't know if that's the word. I mean, just the features in my face, the way I deliver my message. I've always been a very blunt person, but all that trauma, you have what's called fight or flight. And obviously I'm a fighter. So instead of running from my problems, I fight. And that's not good. You got to realize that you're fighting a battle that doesn't even need to be fought. It's not a battle. I'm just always on edge because of all those years of trauma. So learning to be mindful of all that has been my biggest tool. Meditation, prayer. I got to a point where I was angry at God, and I hadn't talked with him for quite some time. And I come to this point where I realized, that saying, God closes one door, he opens another. That's exactly what happened to me. I put God in my life, like everyone had said, and the marriage ended, and I lost my kids. Like, I didn't completely lose them, but I don't have custody of them no more. I only see them twice a year. And so those kind of things made me angry. And I was oblivious to the fact that God just opened a whole nother door for me. He closed that chapter that was nasty. And it wasn't just on my part. Again, I'm not trying to blame anyone. There was two people with trauma, childhood trauma, adult trauma that was unresolved. And we were both redheads. So it just didn't work out. There was 10, almost 12 years of trauma between her and I. There was no going back from that. We tried it. Counseling, everything. I mean, my pastor had told us, he sat down with us and said, look, I'm not qualified for this. He just couldn't do it. So all that had ended, and I literally was blaming God. I was angry. I stopped going to church. There's other reasons why I stopped going to church, but I stepped away from Celebrate Recovery. There's other reasons why I stepped away from that. I might go into that story sometime. But I stepped away from all that stuff and just completely eliminated God from my life. And it was because I was angry with him. And little did I know, as he was working in my life, he was really working. I was still so frustrated trying to figure out why nothing was changing in my life. I'm like, God, come on. I went through all these, I went through this counseling. I went through all this treatment. I went on, talk therapy. I was very involved in a church. I was just doing everything that I thought God wanted me to do. and it still backfired on me. But here's the thing that he said to me one day, and this was a few years after. It's been 5 years since that. Yeah. And I would say within the last 2.5 years, it was somewhere in between the middle after all that. He said to me, I got this thing right on my door, and it says, when God closes one door, he opens another. And I hang my keys on it. So I see it every day. I walk in and out of the house, and I've had that for years. I had it when I was going through all that trauma. And he said to me, he said, you walk past that every day, and you ain't realized what I've opened up for you. And bam, it sunk in. Because he did. Even though I lost that marriage and my 2 kids, he opened another door for me. I got engaged. We've been together for 5 years. We just got engaged last year. I have a new baby. She's 3 years old now. I have 2 stepkids. I mean, I have a wonderful new life. I have 2 businesses. They're not making me rich yet. I've talked about them in my videos. I have a food truck, and I sell on eBay, which this is what you're looking at behind me. I have about $3,000 left on my house to get paid off. I own my dream car, which I've mentioned that a few times. I don't want to make it sound like I'm repeating myself, but those are things that I'm looking at that I have to be proud of now. And those are things that I honestly believe, I know I accomplished those, but God helped me. Like I said, he said, look at this. Look at that chapter I closed for you, and look what you have now. You have learned to overcome your anger. Now, granted, I still, like I said, I have emotional reactivity. I am not that angry, evil man that I once was, where I would wake up and just be agitated and irritated at the world for no reason. I would wake up and just not even know why I was mad. And my PTSD, I had flashbacks. I still get those, but they're not as bad. But I would have those constantly, and they would enrage me. Now, like I said, I know there's a lot of things that help besides just God. I mean, I put in the work. I realized all my issues and my problems. I went through the counseling. I went through the discipleship courses and the 12-step recovery program. I did that. I wasn't forced to do it. I did that on my own because I wanted a change. So, I mean, I couldn't stress it. It starts within. That's the biggest thing. Stop being a victim. Stop dragging your baggage around because it's only holding you back. You don't need it anymore. Let go of it. I know it's hard. It's easier said than done. But find you an outlet. Find you someone that can hold you accountable and make changes. It's never too late. I can't stress that anymore. I was 35 years old. I'm going to be 45 this year here in May. I was 35 years old when I come to that realization. It was 2018. So it's been about 8 years. 2018 when I got into church. And really, so I'm still new into all this. But I'm not praying yet. I'm not going back to church. I don't know if I ever will. But I'm certainly thankful for what he has brought into my life. And I know if I wouldn't have got fully engulfed into church the way I did, I honestly can say I believe I wouldn't have changed. I don't know. That's just, I know it's so hard. There's so many people that doesn't believe in God, and I get it. To each their own. But I do believe in God. I've had too many instances in my life. That's not the only one. Too many instances, too many experiences that I've had where he's shown himself to me. And a lot of people can say, oh, it's just a coincidence. And well, I've had a lot of coincidences then. So, like I said, to each their own. I don't hate you. I hope you don't hate me because I'm talking about God. I don't hate you because you don't believe in God. It is what it is. But shift your mindset. Live in the now. And start being mindful. Find you an outlet. Find you an accountability partner. And make those changes. Starts right here. Right here. Right here. Together. All right? You can do it. Like I've been saying, It's never too late to make a better tomorrow. And don't stop chasing your dreams. I'm out of here, guys. Peace.